Welcome back to Cindy's Library. This is Cindy, and today I want to talk about two historical fiction that I read and actually quite enjoyed. I know, who am I? So, for Red, White, and June, they suggested a number of books to read for that, including a lot of historical fiction, and I actually tried 4, maybe 5 other items, but for various reasons they did not work for me. But these two did work. First, Washington's Lady by Nancy Moser. Yes, here we have Nance. Here we have Martha Washington, and we start around the death of her first husband. I forget his first name, but Mr. Custis. And it's interesting. This book is, well, the divisions are major deaths in Martha Washington's life, but uh, we have, it's probably nearly half of the book before we even, well, maybe it's closer to 1/3 of the book. 2/5? Anyway, it's a fair amount of time before we start actually getting revolutionary activities and ideas. If this is anything to go by, the Washingtons didn't particularly want to rebel, but eventually they felt they needed to. Martha, there's probably no one who knew George Washington better than Martha, and she was completely supportive of her husband, and I just love how their relationship is portrayed here. And if you're hoping for lots in the presidency, there really isn't very much for that. You'll need other books for that. But that rather makes sense because the presidency was mostly focused on George Washington anyway. And then A Founding Mother, a novel of Abigail Adams. This is by Stephanie Dray and Laura Kamoie. And I quite enjoyed this too. Of course, I love Abigail Adams. This one, I guess you could say it's a bit more complete. But we start with Abigail at Braintree, at Peacefield. Actually, I guess they changed the name to Quincy. At their home in Peacefield, hearing news about disasters during the War of 1812 and wonder whether everything they went through was worth it. And then the rest of it, except for a little bit at the end, is basically her reviewing her most eventful life with her husband. And a lot of the time for a while without her husband because he was busy fulfilling patriotic duties in the Continental Congress or as a diplomat. But she was amazing. Style-wise, I'd probably have to give Washington's Lady a bit of an edge, but I quite enjoyed both of these. So, and let's be honest, the subject matter did not hurt. So, I read Washington's Lady basically in June and A Founding Mother in July. So, if you are looking for patriotic reads this year for the 250th, Well, I can only say that I enjoyed those two. Thank you so much for stopping by. Truly did appreciate it. Do appreciate it. And if you have other historical fiction similar to these to recommend, well, most of it still appears not to work for me, but there are a few shining exceptions. So we can give it a try. Hope we all stay safe and healthy. And as always, happy reading.